What's up everybody, Super Dorks fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2001 Honda Prelude Type SH. Huge thanks to Karna, the Indian techie on Instagram, for allowing me to review his very cool Prelude here for you guys today. So about the Prelude, well, it's a really cool car that, was built for a long time, very, very popular. They're pretty rare though now, especially this being the last model year, 2001. I still think they look really great, even, being 15 years old at this point. You have projector beam, halogen headlamps there in the front, very sleek body. This one's been lowered a little bit and looks, pretty good for the age and, the amount of miles and stuff. And so, it's just been a really cool formula. Front wheel drive, you got a powerful 4-cylinder engine and great looks, and so that's why they were so popular. And it's a really good bargain now too for those who are looking for a first car. Right, so for the interior of the 2001 Prelude here, well, it's really nice. Your typical Honda interior for the time. First things first, sitting down in these seats, they're actually really nicely shaped. They got good side bolstering here, especially the thigh support is really ideal. But it's wide enough, to fit all body types. But they're nice seats. They're cloth, and but they feel really great. And this one, has 173,000 miles, and this is how nice the seats have held up. So very good as far as their wearability as well. Next is the steering wheel in the Prelude, which is really nice. This one has a steering wheel cover on it, but you can tell it's a nice thin rimmed wheel for the most part. A really good 9-3 grip though still, and just no 10-2 notches or anything like that, but a good basic Honda wheel, much like you'd see in any of the other stuff again of the time. Gauges in the Prelude are really cool actually. I like the font of them. They're sporty in their feel, and they're just 4 basic gauges. That's all you need. I like the way they look. You have the tachometer that goes up to 7,200 RPMs there, and just looks really cool. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, again, very simple, uncluttered. You just have your climate controls here, and then you have your head unit, which in this one obviously has been replaced with a touchscreen unit. Otherwise, you would have the typical Honda, basic radio you would get for 2001. So, this is a nice upgrade, but, again, this is a little bit of a dated car. So you're not going to have an amazing sound system or anything like that, but most people buying these don't really care. I do like how clean and simple it is, though. It's uncluttered, just all the basic stuff and nothing more, and nice and uncomplicated. Shifter in the Prelude is also really nice. The throws are a little bit on the long side, but they feel really good actually. And it's a tad bit loose, but you can feel all the gears really well. Honda does transmissions excellently most of the time, and so no disappointments there whatsoever. As far as storage space in the Prelude here, it's pretty good. Typical, again, of something from this era. You have a skinny little map pocket here in the door, and then coming over to the center, you have a little coin holder. You have this cup holder with the little middle part that goes back and forth, so you can use it for larger items if you'd like, but it's perfectly good for holding 2 drinks, although the owner does tell me that if you put a drink in the front part here, you will hit it whenever you're shifting gears, so something to keep in mind for those that have the manual Prelude. But otherwise, good cup holders there, and you have the center armrest, which is very, very thinly padded. It is nice though that it has some padding on it. It's not just like straight up hard plastic, but it's 2-tiered, so you open it up here and you have a little first part there that's very shallow but can fit a few things, and then you open up the deeper part here and you can fit all kinds of stuff in there. Really good amount of storage space, and so overall pretty good for a car this time. Backseat space in the Prelude is tight. I'm 5'9". Me sitting behind myself, I have to wiggle to even get my feet underneath the seat and get it positioned, and my knees are really digging into the back of the seat there. So, definitely only really a place for kids, or definitely, those on the shorter side. But there is headroom there, though, whenever I'm sitting back there, so that's good. It's just the legroom that's a little bit lacking, but in a pinch, it should work. Trunk space in the Prelude is pretty good actually. It's a nice wide and long trunk there. You can fit a good amount of things in there, and especially for a car of this type, I think it's a really good trunk. Alright, so start up and go for a drive. The Prelude, again, just 2001, you got a basic key, and this one does have the keyless unlock and lock. But anyway, you just slip into the slot here, and it starts right up. Alright, so setting off with the 2001 Honda Prelude here. So first thing you notice, visibility is excellent. Like many of these Hondas from the 90s, you have a short dashboard here, you have a very nice large windshield that you feel like you're sitting right in front of here, so you can see everything very well. And seeing out of the sides, the B pillar is way far back there, so excellent view out of the sides, excellent view out of the back as well, with a very large rear window. So overall, very easy to drive, feels very small going down the road as well. Other things you notice is actually a really nice and smooth ride as well. You know, the Prelude was a little more comfortable than the Civic and stuff, and you can tell that it feels a little more refined. And again, this is all relative because we're dealing with a car that's 15 years old, but I mean, it's surprisingly smooth and really nice to drive. All right, so let's turn that onto this back road here and see how it does. Oh man! Oh yeah! Listen to that! All right, so we got 200 horsepower and 156 pound-feet of torque from this 2.2 liter 4-cylinder engine, the H22 here. It's a really, really nice motor, and this one has an intake on it as well, so you get even more induction noise. And I just love the way these older Hondas sound. It's much like, you know, the Civic SIs of the time and the RSX Type S. It's just, it's a great sound, honestly. And this one doesn't even have an exhaust system on it, so, you know, really great sounds just with this, without any drone or anything, just lots of great induction sound. And it's actually pretty punchy too, you know, just hanging out around 3,500 RPMs and stomping on it. I mean, you got instant throttle response, and it picks up and goes really nicely, actually, which is surprising. This feels torquier than stuff like the BRZ and stuff, which is identical as far as the specs go. Now, this car is a little bit heavier, and of course, front-wheel drive. Yeah, these weigh around 3,000 pounds, so it'll be interesting to see how it handles the back roads and whatnot. So let's turn it on into a back road and see how it does. All right, so on a back road now, and other things to note here. Now the brakes, again, this one is 173,000 miles, and it still feels really tight. I mean, the throttle response is so sharp and analog. There's something with these drive-by-wire systems these days that you just miss. There's just this great feel about these old school throttles that just feels amazing. But the brakes actually feel really nice and tight still as well, as well as the shifter. The shifter feels really nice. It's very easy to rev match your downshifts. Going around some corners here now, there's a nice and tight one. Let's see how the body roll is, and wow, it's flat. This thing's like a go-kart. Wow. It reminds me a lot of the Civics of this time that I haven't driven in a long time, but this is how I remember them feeling like. They're just so flat, so direct. Again, everything's just so pure and analog, and just so wonderfully simple, but so vivid in the way that it gives you, you know, the way everything feels. You feel so connected to the driving experience. It feels really, really nice. Another acceleration, because why not? Oh man, this is a sweetheart of an engine, man. And then, yeah, these brakes are good. I mean, they're not the most confidence-inspiring brakes in the world, but for what they are and how old this thing is, feels way better than most other stuff I've driven with this many miles, which is just goes to show you that famous Honda reliability. That's just great. Now I can understand why these are so popular and kind of hard to find, honestly, because it's just, wow, this is a fun car. And I was talking to the owner. You can get one of these, you know, in pretty decent shape that maybe needs a little bit of work for under 5,000 bucks all day. And so, you know, for a really cool, fun little starter car, I think this is a really great option. I mean, oh, that sound, it's really awesome. And you know, it doesn't feel like the lightest thing ever, but it doesn't feel heavy either. It's just this very neutral kind of feeling to it in the way that it handles. And, you know, the wheels aren't spinning wildly whenever I get on the gas or anything. I mean, it's a dry day and everything. I'm sure if it was wet, it would be a little bit of a different story, but it's so nice to drive. It's just, you know, even just driving it a little bit easier, a little more laid back, not pushing it a ton. This is where it really shines. It's just really great. I mean, to have a car that still feels this good, runs this strong, goes up past 7,000 RPMs all day long without an issue, and has 173,000 miles. Bravo, Honda. This was really the golden age of Honda, I think, and yeah, I love taking this thing around corners. And the owner did just the right mods, too. Some people really go crazy with these, and that's totally up to everyone's personal taste, but I love the way he's done this. Just an intake, no droning exhaust, nothing over the top, you know, tasteful looks, and it's just a really fun little car, and I can see why he loves this so much. Such a fun, playful car. You just chuck it into corners, and it loves it, and it's along for the ride. It's just right there with you. And it's crazy how smooth this engine feels too. I mean, it's buttery smooth. There's not any kind of vibrations or any kind of roughness to it. It's still just, it's so silky smooth with the power delivery and everything. And you got that great VTEC, which we'll try here for a second gear pull. Just keep winding it out. ever gets old. I still love VTEC, and even that's the amazing thing about it, is it makes a car with 200 horsepower feel twice as fast than it actually is, and but you still can have legal fun. You don't have to be going 500 miles an hour in this thing, you know? It gives you that excitement, all while doing reasonable speeds. Other acceleration. Oh yeah. Second gear chirp that time. Well, it's a strong runner, I'm telling you what. Yeah, honestly, I can't find a bad thing to say about the Prelude. It's really, really well. And you know, the few people I've talked to that have owned Preludes, they all absolutely love them, and they're so passionate about them, and I can understand why now. It's just a really phenomenal car in every single way, and yeah, there's nothing to dislike about these. And it's punchy too. I mean, it does not feel slow. The owner told me I think these got around 6.3 to 6.5 seconds 0 to 60s back when they were new, and it feels quick. It still feels very respectable with its power these days, even with, you know, all this higher horsepower stuff and everything being so much faster. This still feels just about as quick as, you know, a modern Civic SI or something like that, anything else with 200 horsepower, except it's just such a more raw feeling because of everything being so analog and old school, and it just makes it that much more exciting. And even out here on the highway now, you know, we'll put it up into 5th gear and just cruise, and it's just a really nice thing to drive. It's still so smooth. I mean, there's, you know, obviously a lot of noise here because the window's down and stuff, but I mean, you can drive this car for long distances. I mean, it's smoother than, you know, a lot of other performance cars and stuff, and really a great all-arounder. This is the perfect daily driver. You know, somebody who wants a reliable, fun, comfortable daily driver for, you know, under 5,000 bucks. You can't really do better than something like this. It'd be hard to think of another car that would be a more well-rounded, better car for the money. I mean, and you probably get great fuel economy as well with, you know, a Honda 4-cylinder, so you keep your running costs down and everything else. Just can't go wrong, honestly. So anyway, huge thanks to Karna once again for allowing me to review his very nice, clean, well-kept Prelude here for you guys today. And so let me know your thoughts on the Prelude. Like I said, this is really an impressive car for the money, and a really, really great first car for those looking for something fun. So anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.